The 2023-2024 Premier League season has come and gone. There has been highs, there's been lows, there's been surprises, there's been teams finishing way above where you'd expect them to. There's been teams not doing that. Anyway, today we're going to rank each team's season. We are going to go through on a what's it called? A tier list ranker thing, and we're going to give them a ranking. It's going to be either S, A, B, C, D, or F, and then I don't know. That's about it. But the ranking, look, it's not because if you're just ranking the seasons, it would be Manchester City, then Arsenal, Liverpool, Villa, Tottenham. Like, you know, that would be boring. So we're doing it based on the expectation. So what people would have expected for that club, for where they are going into this season. So, you know, for, I don't know, who's an example? I don't know, we'll get into it. Let's no more explaining it. We'll just get into it and you'll figure it out. Before we do though, make sure you leave a select down below if you're into this. If you want to see more, subscribe, comment, whatever you reckon. Comment what you think you'd want to see. I do have more ideas of what I want to do. Like, we're going to do like a team of the season and awards, like signing of the season, player of the season, young player, all that crap. Yeah, let's get into it. Just realised, don't have the thing open, so uno momento. This is the order we're going in. I decided not to do it in order of league table or alphabet or something boring like that. I decided to choose a wheel generator thing and spit out the 20 teams, and this is what we've landed on. So if you're looking for your team, and just click in the video where you reckon that'll be. Some teams I'm going to have like 2 sentences to say about. I've just got to put that out there. Like, it's not going to be super interesting for some of them, but it is what it is. First team we are talking about is Liverpool. Look, there's not much to say that hasn't already been said. It's Klopp's last season. It's sort of sad to see him go, as you may be able to tell, Manchester City fan. There's a John Stones up here somewhere, and Aguero behind me. Sorry about the glare. I've got the window open today. It's a bit something different. Yeah, look, Klopp's last season. It's sad to see him go. They've finished third on 82 points, 15 points better off than last season. So they did do not a bad job this season. They've done well. They've won a Carabao Cup. They made it to the quarterfinals, losing to the eventual champions at Atalanta. So it's been a pretty decent season. I guess you, going into this season, understood that it was sort of a season of change with the sort of midfield overhaul almost, with Endo, McAllister, Szoboszlai coming in. It would be naive to expect them to just hit the ground running and absolutely, rocket to the title. Maybe the announcement of Klopp's departure was meant to give them that end of season kick to push on, but it didn't quite work out that way. And at the end of the day, they finished third. It's pretty good. I mean, it's fine. I think, again, last season they finished 5th. We'll give them a B, because I guess probably you'd want more from them. But, given where they came from, you can't be too miffed with it, I guess. I mean, let me know what you reckon. Maybe you're a Liverpool fan and you think they were horrid, or you think they were brilliant. I don't know. I just think, yeah, they were all right. They did fine. Yeah, it's sad to see Jurgen Klopp go. Honestly, I'm just not. I don't know. I'm not prepared to see not Jurgen Klopp there next season. Hopefully Arne Slot comes in and does a good job for them. I do have, nothing but respect for Liverpool Football Club. Went and toured Anfield when I went to England last March, and it was incredible. The just atmosphere, the place. I did, of course, had to do the tap of the Anfield. Anyway, yeah, nothing but respect and hope for the best from them. Second team we're talking about is Burnley Football Club. Finished 19th on 24 points. They spent 111 million euros, according to transfermarket.com anyway. And I think, like, going into it, that's unprecedented for, like, Burnley backing one of their managers. Obviously, they come in with a lot of money, having won the championship. You never got this sort of support backing Sean Dyche previously. Huge support behind Vincent Kompany. They loved the way he played in the championship, and it just didn't work out, did it? Just really didn't. I think for me this, and obviously as a Burnley fan, you may have a better idea than I do. I thought that the recruitment was a little too ambitious, like trying to go for all of these future talents, unless they understood that they would drop down and then come back up. I don't know. But going for M. Dooney, Aaron Ramsey, Odebear, someone like Bayer who wasn't Premier League proven. I know that's a cliche and annoying thing to say, but when you do come up into the Premier League like they have, you don't want to buy just these young players like Trafford, like Odebear, as I said. It doesn't feel like you're sort of being realistic enough, I guess. It's sort of like you're anticipating dropping down and then hoping to rebuild again, and the experience of getting relegated to make these players better for it or something. It's just not. It's not quite there. And I just think the season they came from, Vincent Kompany, the manager that everyone's touting him to be, Bayern Munich are touting him to be, you would have expected more. So actually, I think okay, it's hard to say. I think Sheffield, we'll talk about them. Burnley I'm going to rank worse than Luton, because I think Luton, expectations-wise, probably wasn't that high. Burnley, I think given the money they spent, the way they played in the Championship, the manager they had, you'd expect more. So I am going to put them in the D tier. It was not a great season, and now, after spending all these players to turn the team into what Mr. Kompany wanted, he's buggered off to Bayern Munich. Congratulations to him. I mean, obviously he's a City fan. Hopefully, I hope he goes well, but just seems a bit of a dick move, doesn't it? It's not ideal. Third team we're talking about, of course, Luton. As I just alluded to, don't know. I'm going to rank him a little bit higher. I'm going to give him a C, I think. Obviously, I've gone straight into this one. The other two I gave a little bit of suspense to, but going with the C, I just think for what you expected of Luton, the way that they've come up, the squad that they had, they didn't have the biggest of budgets to go out and spend 111 million euros on a bunch of talent. I just think they did about what you'd probably expect them to, perhaps even better than you'd expected them to. Rob Edwards has done a fantastic job. Do they really have any players that, as teams go down, that Premier League teams are going to look at the players and be like, do we want some of that in our team? It's hard to say from any of these teams that have gone down who you would want. I guess from Luton, the players that have stood out is obviously Alfie Doughty, but the main thing is Rob Edwards has stood out, I guess. Just going to be hard to pry him away from there. Not too much else to say about Luton. About what you expected from them, gave a good shot at it, and they can be proud. Hopefully we see them back again soon, because I thought it was a good story, and I liked Kenilworth Road. That's about it. Fourth side is Brighton. I guess probably our first real disappointment of a side that we knew in the Premier League. Burnley was a side that we were predicting how they would go into the Premier League. First disappointment of a side that was in the Premier League. They did very, very well season prior under De Zerbi. I've got my notes on the left here. That's why I keep glancing over. They finished 6th last season on 62 points. So 14 points they dropped down, which is not fantastic. Look, I know that injuries played a part, and the sort of uncertainty behind De Zerbi, which is now sorted, I guess. It just didn't quite work out, and I guess probably playing in Europe as well. It wasn't fantastic, was it? I think I'm going to give them a D. It feels harsh. It feels harsh giving them a D because of the injuries, and because the season prior they had outperformed or overperformed or overachieved, whatever you want to say. But I think given that as the standard, and keeping hold of De Zerbi, keeping hold of certain players, you expect more. They spend more. Just didn't work out. Hopefully they get a good coach in to replace De Zerbi. It's been a great story to see how they've come up and the way that the business has been run and all that. I remember watching I think it was a high performance podcast. I can't remember the guy's name. Something like Humphreys or something. I can't remember his name. But then they interviewed I think it was the chairman or someone from Brighton, and it was really interesting to listen to the way that he describes what they look for in the business as well as managers and as players and things like that. So really interesting, really like the way that the club is run, and it just wasn't a good season, was it? Hopefully next season they're back to it. Hopefully they've got fit players. Hopefully they recruit well in the off season and pick the right manager, and we see them back up in the top half. Next team is Newcastle United. They have finished 7th on 60 points. They've dropped by 11 points from their 4th place finished the season before. The addition of Champions League was always going to be a bit of a struggle, and always, it's a bit of a test to a team's depth and the quality that they have in that depth as well. And I think it showed that that isn't quite there yet. Obviously, losing Tonali hurt them a lot. Such a exciting signing. I mean, a bit of a different signing. It wasn't one that you'd sort of expected Newcastle to make, or I think it's more so you didn't expect him, if he was leaving there, to go to Newcastle. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Isak, brilliant. You can say that. Anthony Gordon, brilliant season. They have some really great players and really are building something brilliant there. It just sucks now that they've missed out on Europe, that, maybe players have to go like Bruno to Manchester City, maybe. I don't know. I don't actually have an opinion on that. It's just a rumour, isn't it? Anyway, as for how Newcastle did, I don't think I'd put them as harshly as Brighton and Burnley, so maybe just a C. They finished 7th, in and amongst, some big clubs, like in and amongst Chelsea and United. Like, they finished just above United, just below Chelsea and Tottenham. Like, they're in that range, and at the end of the day, it's those key, factors like losing a Tonali for the season, like season-ending injuries, that sort of thing, that do make that difference. So maybe their final position doesn't quite reflect maybe how good they are, but at the end of the day, I'll give them a C. I don't know. Let me know what you think. I don't know. It's hard. The next side is West Ham United. Of course, last season, the conference winners. This season, they sell Declan Rice for 100 million. They bring in Alvarez, Kudus, James Ward-Prowse. And they've done pretty well, to be fair to them. Quarterfinal of the Europa League. I think what did they finish? 9th with 52 points. 12 set better than last season. Obviously, last season sort of impacted, I guess, by the long run in the competitions, but they've done rather well, I think. I think I'm going to give them the same rating as Liverpool, the nice B. They've had a decent finish in the Premier League, a good run in Europe. It's just going to be hard, I guess, seeing what happens with the sort of aging side of their squad, like Ogbonna, Cresswell, Ings, Antonio, Fabianski. That's a decent portion of their squad. Even Sufal, I don't know how to say his name, Vladimir the right back guy. There's got to be transition at some point from this sort of group of players, and new coach next season, see what happens with the post Moyes era, and hope for the best for them. I love Kudus. As a Manchester City fan, watching the final day against Manchester City, every time Kudus got on the ball, I was nervous because City could not tackle him. They could not tackle him. Like, I know it was, at the end of the day, 3-1, it was comfortable. I wasn't, personally, for most of the game anyway, until probably 85, 86 minutes in. Then I was like, oh, we've done it. Anyway, Kudus is just unbelievable, isn't he? What a star boy. That goal on the final day, the untackleable dribbling, it's just, he looks rather good. And they've got to sort out this Paqueta mess, and see what goes on from there. Fingers crossed for good recruitment. Fingers crossed for Lopetegui. I rate West Ham. I like West Ham. Anyway, I don't like the stadium too much. I don't like the round shape, but whatever. Anyway, moving on to whoever the hell's next. I can't read over there. Next team we're looking at is Everton Football Club. I think they've done rather well. I'll give them a B as well. Under Sean Dyche, they've done very well, especially once he started wearing tracksuits. Branthwaite, a great season. Good to see Dominic Calvert-Lewin playing some games. Beto didn't work out, which is a giant surprise to everyone in the Football Manager world, because he was apparently brilliant in the last couple of years. But, they've done well with every, the FA or the EFL or whatever, trying their god-dang hardest to kick Everton out of the Premier League. They just find a way, and they've done very well. I'm, nervous for them with the changeover to the new stadium, but I think you're sort of seeing over the last couple of years with the struggles financially, sort of similar to what Tottenham went through. Like, they didn't really spend a whole lot of money in the build-up to the moving of stadiums. And then it's taken Tottenham a little while to get going again in the new stadium. That's my view anyway. I don't know. So hopefully we don't see that. Hopefully Everton straight into their new stadium. What is it? Bramley? Dock? I don't know. Don't know what it's called. Anyway, good luck to him. Hopefully keep hold Branthwaite. Hopefully bring Jack Harrison back. Then Zuma can bugger off. That was what a useless sign that was. That's about it. I don't really have a lot to say about them, really, other than good on them for beating the FA or EFL, whoever it is, those people trying to get them down for their 2 charges or whatever, compared to Manchester City's 115. They've used that really well as like a us against them, really getting down to what felt more like the Moyes era of, Everton being that like underdog team fighting against the man. Previously the man was Liverpool, Manchester United, blah, blah, blah. This time it's whoever it is. Is it FFP? I don't know what it is. The Chargers. You know what I'm talking about. They've done well, though. Keep all the players. Keep Sean Dyche wearing tracksuits. See how they get on. Next team, I realise I've been talking a lot about nothing and not really getting anywhere with points. Next one is Bournemouth. Obviously, they've done very well after their 10th game. They were winless in 9. From their 10th game, they've managed to go on and finish 12th on 48 points. So they've done rather well, getting 8 more points than Everton, minus their deduction. Iriola's done a very good job, really. I mean, it was sort of a not questionable appointment, but one you weren't sure about, I guess. And after 4 or 5 games, it was starting to look more of a Frank de Boer managerial hiring. What was it? He lost 5 without scoring a goal and then got sacked. I don't know. And brought in Jairo Riedewald, which has just been horrible. It's gone very well, especially looking at people like Dom Solanke. What a great season he had. Anthony Iraola has managed to get the best out of him. The team obviously needs to grow a bit more, I guess. They're in terms of quality in certain places. They've brought in Enes Unal permanently now, which I hope that isn't a sign that Dom Solanke is going to be leaving. But if they can play in tandem and it works, which it seemed to for periods of the latter half of the season, good luck and Godspeed, I guess. How am I going to rank them though? Because they've finished 12th on 48 points. So, I mean, that's a passable season, I think, for Bournemouth. So I will put them in C. But if you take out the opening 9 games and look at the remaining 29, they probably get higher than that, I guess. You know what I mean. Next thing we're talking about is Tottenham Hotspur. Ange Postecoglou's first season in charge. First Australian to manage in the Premier League. It's very exciting for an Aussie like me. A Brisbanean like me. I don't know what we even... Just say I'm from Brisbane. I don't know. As someone who saw Ange Postecoglou win things for Brisbane Roar, it's very exciting. Obviously had his skeptics coming into the season. You weren't sure how it was going to translate, whether, the jump was too big for him or the, trying to take over a team like Tottenham wasn't going to work out, but I think it did. And obviously latter half of the season wasn't as good as the first half, but you can see that the wheels are in motion. He just needs time and needs transfer windows and needs backing, and I think it'll be good. I mean, obviously it is risky football. He does play a certain expansive style like De Zerbi, even, where there are risks involved that are clear to see, and you do see the frailties often. But at the end of the day, he's won everywhere he's gone, and he's recruited well everywhere he's gone. So give him some more time, give him some more chance at recruitment, and see what happens. So I'm gonna give that a B, because they finished fifth. Finished 5th on 66 points, 6 points better off than last season. So done well. There's just definitely still some room, some room in catching the likes of Manchester City and Arsenal. It's which isn't easy. It's not going to be easy for anyone, is it? 10th team in the halfway mark is Manchester City, the team I support. So it's obviously my view is going to be a certain way, but I think it's hard to follow a treble-winning season and look at those standards and then anything past there as not, because that's the standard, and anything else is not matching it. So it's hard to not look at it with a certain light. They have finished 2 points actually better off than last season, but I guess they didn't have quite the amount of football as last season. Champions League quarterfinal, FA Cup final. quarterfinal of the Champions League was losing on penalties to Real Madrid. It's sort of like you get knocked out by Real Madrid, you sort of go, yeah, well, all right then. As much as it sucks and it's not ideal, you sort of go, yeah, it happens, and you can't be too upset about that because it's Real Madrid, mate. They're gonna do well in the Champions League. It's what they do. That's their MO. That's their DNA, mate. So look, I think for me it felt like not as positive a season because the football didn't seem as fluid, as good, as gorgeous, and obviously losing De Bruyne for a period hurt that, losing Haaland for a period hurt that, but that for a team like Manchester City, with the quality that they have, shouldn't necessarily make that difference, I guess. It's hard, as I said, hard because they've actually done better in the Premier League this season, believe it or not, and maybe that's because Arsenal pushed them even harder. But it didn't feel like it gelled as well. I feel like there's still some deficiencies, and obviously recruitment wasn't perfect. Obviously Guardiola looks fantastic. Doku, brilliant in patches. Kovacic, I think, a very, very good, almost like for like with Gundogan. Obviously not the same goal threat, but the same sort of composure and understanding of football, I guess, which is quality, really. And then there's like Nunez, and you're like, what have you done there? Well, this doesn't look good on us, does it? It's like signings like Nunez are why fans of other teams talk about Manchester City and, you know, the spending of money and terrible signings and stuff. And like, what was that? I get that we couldn't afford or didn't want to spend the money on Paqueta. Nunez wasn't very good, is it? It's not a good signing. Phil Foden, brilliant. Erling Haaland, still brilliant, despite people saying that he's rubbish and has the skills of a League 2 striker. He scored 38 goals or something in the season, and for anyone else, he's had a brilliant season. He's won the Golden Boot. He's up to, I don't know, 90 goals for the club or something close to that anyway. But in terms of a rating, it's hard. And obviously the 115 charges is a thing. Like, it'll come up at some point, something will happen, we'll all talk about it, and who knows? Who knows? It's hard to say. But I guess it's hard because they've won the league, achieving 90 points again, but I almost want to put them in B, because for their standards, it doesn't. And then I feel like am I being biased if I put them, or would any champion be the A? Am I going to rate Arsenal higher? Ugh. I'm putting them in A, and it's because I was excited when they won the league, and John Stones has been there for years, just smiling away, getting hidden by shrubbery. Putting them in A, and it's just because I don't want this to fill up, okay? Because it's, you know, somewhere around there. At 91 points. They won the 4th league title in a row. They're alright. They're alright. I guess on that topic, next club is Arsenal. And a very good season. 89 points, 5 better off than last season. They still just can't quite get over the Manchester City hump. Didn't like that. Because Manchester City are brilliant. And it's hard. Mikel doing a very, very good job. Recruitment working very, very well. I mean, Declan Rice looks fantastic. Havertz looks like fantastic business, which nobody thought when that move happened. The only business that is still questionable, because it always has been, Gabriel Jesus. It's like, do they need a proper number 9 and that'll be the difference? Do they need a Victor Osimhen? Do they need a Dom Solanke? I don't know. I just made that up because there was another striker that they've been linked with, Šeško. I don't know how to say his name. The RB Leipzig youngster, sort of, I guess, fits the timeline of Martinelli, Saka, Rice, Odegaard. You know, he'll be a very good player while they're all very good players. Saliba and Gabriel as well, and I don't know, whoever else. They've had a very good season. They've got almost like team of the season caliber performances all around the pitch. Like David Raya was the Golden Glove. Is that what it's called? The clean sheet award winner guy. And then Ben White was one of the best right backs in the league. Gabriel and Saliba, one of the best pairings in the league. Left back, questionable, because nobody thought like it's Zinchenko. But then when Kivior plays there, when if Tomiyasu plays there, it's decent, it's solid. Just still work to be done, I guess. Then yeah, Partey is questionable, and then just Havertz, Rice, Odegaard, Saka. It's all that sort of caliber of team of the season, you know. It very good season. There's like a number of very good players, and they just couldn't quite get over that hump. It's coming though, isn't it? Because they're all growing, they're all coming into their primes. They're just getting better and better. 5 points better off this season, obviously. I don't know. If you're like, let me know what you reckon. If you're an Arsenal fan, tell me what you reckon. Maybe it is the number 9. I think that's the real leading question mark. And then left back, whether you do stick it out with Kiwior there or like, because Zinchenko probably isn't it. Like that's, I know obviously he's a Manchester City guy that I at one point really enjoyed, but you know, it's for the standards that they're trying to catch up to and, you know, eclipse. Hard. Anyway, I'm giving him an A because that's 89 points is outstanding. And nobody really, I guess, would have thought that they would push Manchester City that far after last season. And Manchester City still, yeah, anyway, whatever. You get the point. Let me know what you reckon. Anyway, moving on. Next team is Fulham, and this is one of the teams that I don't really have a whole lot to say because I gotta be honest, didn't watch a whole lot of Fulham this season. I live in Australia. It's really hard working full time to watch a good amount of every team. You know what I mean? More than like watch a good amount more than just highlights. You know what I mean? So Fulham's one that I didn't really watch a lot of, and I think that's because they weren't that exciting. Perhaps if Adama comes in and he all of a sudden is in highlight packages every week, I'm like, oh, what's going on? Muniz was a surprise packet. That was brilliant in the second half of the season, especially. They've been standard. They've been fine. Like they did exactly what you expected Fulham to do, I guess. So I guess you could give them a C or a B or something, but I don't know. Keep hold of Polina. Keep hold of Muniz. I really like Andreas Pereira. I'd like to see a team, like, the way that they're building a team, I enjoy, like, I guess, with certain elements, especially, I like Tosin Badara, whatever his name is. I like Polina. I like Calvin Bassey. I like Andres Pereira. I like Muniz. Just need to still doing the stuff around that needs work. Next team is Aston Villa, and they're going to get the best rating. Like no joke. I don't know why this is the only logo that has this weird thing, but a background. It's the weird thing. But they're going to get an S because nobody thought they were getting Champions League football, with all due respect. I mean, Unai Emery's been fantastic. They've taken a leap. I know, like, they're only actually 7 points off best. They haven't taken the biggest leap of all, which I think is Chelsea, from memory. But getting Champions League football, nobody thought that. The success of Watkins, of Pau Torres, who else did I note down? That was the only ones that I noted down as being fantastic. Obviously, there's others around there. Bailey's been fantastic. I really enjoyed. I remember watching him. I saw. Where did I see Bailey play? I think it was a friendly against Leeds here in Brisbane about 2 years ago now, maybe. Something like that. And he was brilliant on that day and, like, electric. Anyway, really like him. Diaby a bit disappointing. I hope to see more from that. I thought it was a down season for Jacob Ramsey, which I'm not a fan of because I really like Jacob Ramsey. John McGinn's outstanding. Who thought John McGinn was going to be this player? Like, coming up from the Championship, who thought he was going to be this big of a part of a now Champions League team? It's outstanding. Done fantastic work from Unai Emery. Fantastic work from the recruitment. And they get an S tier for getting Champions League football. I mean, what can you say? Like, you didn't think that they would be ahead of United, Newcastle, Tottenham, Chelsea. Like, you didn't. Brighton even. I don't know. It's debatable, I guess. But It's what they're getting. Next team, we're moving on quickly because I've probably screwed up my there we go. Is that where we were? Don't know. Next team is Brentford because look, I'm rolling straight into it because there's not a whole lot to say about Brentford. They've finished 16th on 39 points, which is 20 points worse than last season. So I will give them a D, and I feel like that's justifiable because of 20 points worse. I understand that they were without Tony for half the season, and that absolutely rocked them. And that is why they are so much worse off. But that's horrid. If you're losing one player could be gone at any point. City lost to Bruno for half a season with his surgery and all that. It happens. You need to have a squad around that, and one player, 20 points difference should not make anyway. So I'm giving them a D. You wouldn't have expected them coming into the season to finish 16th. Yeah, not great. It's another season that they've stayed in the Premier League. They've stayed sort of stable, where it wasn't really at any point that nervous about where they were going to finish. You didn't really think they were going down, but you would have expected more from them. Keep hold of Tony, hopefully. Or don't, actually. Maybe sell him. Build around that absolute legend Brian Mbeumo, and just build squad. Not just man up front that does the job and scores penalties really well. Keep hold of Thomas Frank too. I mean, obviously there was rumours which have seemingly died down now with Enzo Maresca being more the chosen one for Chelsea, seemingly anyway. So good luck. Getting towards the end now, thankfully, because my voice is starting to go. Next up is Crystal Palace. They finished 10th on 49 points, which I think is actually better than you would have expected. And then you realise that they were worse off, brought in a new manager halfway through the year, and have been fantastic since then. So I'm giving them a B, because I think it's a good standard that they've set for themselves. They've got to keep hold of Guehi, Eze, Elise, and apparently Jean-Philippe Mateta, who is apparently going to be one of the best strikers in the league next season. We'll see. Fantastic appointment. I mean, nobody really spoke about Glasner too much before, in the circles that I follow anyway, spoke too much about Glasner before his move to Crystal Palace, but now he's come there and he's set the world on fire. He's done very, very well. And onward and upward, as long as they keep hold of those key players, or if they don't, sell them big, recruit well, see how you get on. Wharton's been fantastic, must keep hold of him. It's just good to see the different strengths that they have, all gelling together with Joachim Andersen and Guehi and Tyrant Mitchell and Wharton, and then Eze, and then Elise, and then Mateta up front. It's just a really good little unit that they've got going, and core of the side. They need to fill out the outsides of that, and keep hold of key players and build. That's the key for most teams, isn't it? You could sort of say that anyway. It's probably written 6 times in those notes that I talked about. Anyway, well done Crystal Palace. Well done Glasner. For a couple of years now, I've been saying that I wished that Michael Elise was the Riyad Mahrez replacement at Manchester City. It's not going to happen, but it would have been nice, and I rate him. Really like watching him. He's just so elegant. I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Next team is Sheffield United. I'm not going to talk too much about them because I don't really have a whole lot to say. They've conceded the most goals in Premier League history, despite getting 6 or 9 points or whatever it is, more than that Derby County side from 2007-8. The only reason they're not an F is that we sort of knew coming into the season they were going to struggle a bit. They'd sold Ndiaye. Is that his name? I don't know. The bloke that went to Marseille, they sold him and he was their best player in the Championship. They sold Sanderberg to Burnley, and of course he's very good. Well, it was going to be tough, wasn't it? So, they've done okay. No, they haven't. They didn't do well. They've got a D. The only reason they aren't an F is because we all knew that they were going to struggle. That's it. Next team's Wolves. Again, we've got 4 teams left. I feel like I've been talking for absolutely forever. I've been recording for 39 minutes. Next team's Wolves. Wolves finished 14th on 46 points, 5 points better off than last season's 13th place finish. So they're 5 points better off, but they drop a place. Bit of sort of similar to Fulham. So I'm going to put them in the same place as Fulham, where I wasn't too interested or excited by them. Obviously, there are bits that I like, and from what I watched and what I know, João Gomez had a really good season. Aït-Nouri had a really good season and seemingly played forward for periods. Cunha had a good season. No, he didn't. I like him though. I like Kilman as well. Again, core of the side looking good. They need a good pairing for Kilman next to him, more quality perhaps, and build. Yeah, that's about it. They get a C. Probably maybe thought they were going to go worse. I don't know, because bringing in a new coach or whatever, so close to the start. Anyway, whatever, they get a C. That'll do. Next is Manchester United, and Manchester United, they finished 8th on 60 points, which is 15 points worse off than last season. Second biggest drop. Brentford was the only one that was worse. Let's give them a D. It's got to be a D. Like, at the end of the day, they've finished 8th. They've only got European football because they've won the FA Cup, which is congratulations, well done. The core of the side, like the young core, is looking good with Garnacho, with Kobe Mainu, with Højlund. Those three plus Bruno is what you're building around, and it's looking fantastic. Onana, questionable. Great with the ball, absolutely fantastic. Him in the Champions League final, I've never seen a performance like that on the ball from a goalkeeper. That's all you can say for him though, because it hasn't been good outside of that. And do they keep hold of Ten Hag now? Are they getting rid of him? I don't know. We'll see. Next team, second last, is Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest, 17th on 32 points. 32, and they survived. Anyway, I'll give him a C because you probably didn't expect much more than that, did you? And really, realistically, with whatever's going on with FFP, they've done okay. They just need to obviously sort that the hell out, probably sell some players. Probably don't sign like 20 players in one window or whatever it is that they did, and then you'll be right. That's about it. Maybe sell, I don't know. Do any of the players worth anything at this point? I don't know. I don't know after a 32-point season if anyone's looking over lovingly at Nottingham Forest players. You know what I mean? Anyway, they get a C. It was fine. They stay in the Premier League. That's all they wanted, really. Chelsea is the last team, and Chelsea, I'm going to give them a B. They've taken the biggest leap. They've unearthed a gem in Cole Palmer, who, when he left Manchester City, I didn't care. Like, if a couple of years ago, when Leroy Sané left, I was kind of annoyed. I was like, I like Leroy Sané. I think it'd be great to keep a hold of him forever. Cole Palmer leaves, and I'm like, all right, we got 45 million for a youth academy product, whatever. That's pretty decent. We'll take that. Had no idea he was going to do this. Had absolutely no idea he was going to do this. This is an absolutely brilliant season. Has to keep it up next season, or perform somewhat to that standard under whoever it may be. I thought the second half of the season was really good. The way that the tactics that Pochettino put in place with the sort of, it was in possession. The Cucurella would come into midfield, so it was like a 3-2-4-1 almost in possession. Really liked it. With the way they played it, I really thought was working, and then they go and sack Pochettino, so there has to be something going on behind the scenes, really. Didn't have Europe. They've finished 20 points off. 20 points better off, and they've sacked their manager. They've got Europe back. I mean, I know it's the Conference League now because they got booted out of the Europa League by United winning the FA Cup, but I thought they did really, really well. Hopefully, whoever the coach is, probably Maresca, works out for them, and they keep progressing. But at the end of the day, with the amount of change they had, the amount of young players they had, it was always going to be an up and down season. There was going to be great results. There was going to be good performances against good teams, and there was going to be dips in the performance. That's what happens. You're inconsistent when you're younger. And when there's lots of change and you're not used to playing with people, you're not used to playing in these big games, there's these up and down. That's what happens. You kind of expected Chelsea to have gone and won the league this season. That would be ridiculous. But they've exceeded expectations. They've done very well, but then they sat there. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't really understand. There has to have been, for me, like a losing of the dressing room, a complete falling out with Todd Bowley, something like that. Because performance-wise, in terms of the results on the pitch, getting Europe, the results he's got out of certain players, he's done a great job. Yeah. Don't really understand that for me, but at the end of the day, we're done. That is how I've ranked them. Obviously, a lot of teams fairly average and through the middle, and then the best teams in the league getting rated well. That's what I can see anyway. And that's all there is to it. Thank you for watching. Make sure you do leave us a like down below if you did enjoy that. Subscribe if you're new. Comment what you thought of how I've ranked whatever team it is. And let me know if there's anything else you'd like me to cover. I enjoy talking football, so it's fun. And the more I do it, the more easy it'll be, because it isn't as easy as playing FIFA, because I can just say what I see, you know? Anyway, that'll do. Cheers. Peace.